Is humanity alone in the universe? Is it really possible that in the entire vast universe, which is so great that one can barely imagine it, the only manifestation of conscious life are we, humanity? Does not our common sense tell us that the chances are way greater that we are just a small, yet a reasonably significant part of the living population of this truly wonderful realm of our universe, which we are just beginning to explore? Just like here on Earth, under the Sun, somewhere in a distant star system, life could have easily emerged millions of years ago. If you're skeptical, then you would probably put it this way: if extraterrestrials exist, then why I have never seen them? And even never in my life have I seen a so-called UFO. The explanation to this is very simple. The thing is that to see something, you need to at least look in the direction where you expect to see this thing. Indeed, it is necessary to look not briefly, but for a fairly long period of time. And it would be helpful to be armed with appropriate instruments and tools. Now let me ask you, how often and for how long do you look at the sky? Of course, there are specially trained people who watch the sky and the stars around the clock, astronomers, for example. Why haven't we heard anything from them, you may ask? First of all, the fact is that all the telescopes and other means of observing the starry sky available to mankind at the moment allow us to observe simultaneously only less than 1% of the whole firmament. In addition to this, distances to the other stars rather than the Sun are enormous. Because of this, it takes light hundreds, thousands, and even millions of years to travel those distances to bring us information from those stars and planets. In fact, through our telescopes, we are looking into the past. Now calculate the chances that you see something out of this world in the heavens, given that you look in all possible directions around the clock. At its largest, it's less than 1%. The conclusion is clear. In order to make contact with extraterrestrials, which of course exist, we need other, more advanced technologies and skills that are completely different from those currently available.
And lift off for the final launch of Endeavour, expanding our knowledge while expanding our lives in space.
Endeavour, program.
Secondly, even having those problems mentioned above, there are hundreds of thousands of cases of UFO sightings, which are not only visual fixations, but also instrumental ones. However, the witnesses most often do not want to risk their reputation or be ridiculed and report on what they are unable to explain, or are afraid to explain. Because if you recognize the existence of another extraterrestrial civilization, you, as a representative of the human race, will have to bear responsibility for all that humanity has screwed up in its entire history, namely for the history of wars and conflicts, hostility and ignorance, consumer attitude to the surrounding world, and phenomenal nihilism. And this responsibility is not only moral or ethical, it is also material, actual. Just take a look around, globally. People have almost ruined their planet. They have already made a mess of everything around. Shall we go further and for the sake of our ego, unleash another war in space? Bring some weapons there in order to conquer space and dominate the world? Who will be responsible for the consequences of this in the face of the other members of our big galactic family? Who will put everything back in order and recover the biosphere, purify the oceans? Who will make you human again? Do we really have to do this ourselves? Yes, this is exactly what we need to do in the first place. So the extraterrestrials could have a chance to stop keeping away from us and willingly make contact. Humanity is one family, right? Everybody agrees to that. Now tell me, would you come as a guest to a family where everybody fights, threatens, deceives, kills each other? Would this be a great idea? Or would it be better to leave such a family to itself for the good, hoping there will be a change? There has to be a change. In you.